Hello everyone and welcome back. Now today, obviously, as you know, if you'd have seen my channel, my primary thing that I film is cars that are abandoned. But I met this guy at a car show, and the more that we got talking, the more I thought, you own pretty much every single person's dream car, at least one of them. So without further ado, I'm going to show you around his incredible collection. And the first thing that we have is this beautiful Mark I Citroën DS. Now, as you know, if you've ever seen my channel, this is a favourite car of mine. It is my favourite car. And look inside here. So this car came from South Africa and it was imported whenever it was imported. And he has done a full nut and bolt restoration on it and has spent a lot of time, effort and money making this car as elegant as it is now. And there's a very large amount, I believe this is about 1.5 inches of padding in the roof, just to keep it that more insulated. This isn't wood either, this is metal. But in South Africa, if you had wood, it would split, so they gave you metal so that you burnt yourself instead. He's done some modifications to the vents so that it can force warm air through, which I should do to mine really. And look at all the dials here. The early DSs are very desirable and worth a lot of money. And look at the clocks. I love the way that's written. That's so unusual. Absolutely beautiful car. He's done it all properly in this nice red interior. The floor has got a sponge underneath it, so it's nice and springy. I didn't know that they were meant to have that. Mine obviously doesn't. And if you excuse my feet, you will see that you don't have a brake pedal in a proper DS. You just have a mushroom, and it does that. So your brakes aren't, you've got your accelerator and then you just have to press into the floor. Again, this was the most, and remains one of the most technologically advanced cars ever built, and it still has things to confuse modern drivers even now. But what a lovely car, and it looks so nice in black with its red interior. He's done proper red seatbelts as well. He has not spared a penny on this. Right, let's go and have a look under the bonnet. So you pull this here, and then you've got another one down here, and we will go and have a look underneath. And look at the engine bay in this. You can eat your dinner off that, so clean. He's obviously had that painted up properly. He's got some nice new leads in there as well. And as part of his commitment to cladding, he's put some real thick insulation on here to help with the noise coming from it. This car runs on red fluid, which is what LHM originally its colour was. And there's the things that he's done to change it to have it so that he can have forced warm air. He's done a few things on it, but obviously nothing to detract from what a DS should be. But this car is very quiet. I don't know if I can show you this, but underneath he has about 6 silencers to make it be quieter. I don't know if we can see under there. Well, there they are. See the bank? Yeah, that really does actually help keep the noise down in this car. It sounds like it's brand new. In fact, I've just noticed this car is not properly set up, so it needs to be lowered down. So let's go and do that. There it is. And now it sits as it should do. Okay, so let's go and take a look at some of the other cars. Okay, now in the garage, all of the cars were parked in the garage. He's very kindly taken them out for me, but this one's remained. This is a Peugeot 504, which is being used sort of as a template for another car that I'm going to show you in a minute, but he hasn't told me anything about this, but we'll have a look around. This looks like it's been off the road for quite some time. It's not looking too healthy there, as he should. These are kept dehumidified, but it's a coupe. Yeah, so the seats are a bit worn. So what I do know about this car is it was bought as sort of a template for another car, but a friend of his has seen it, fallen in love with it and bought it, so it will see the road again. I love this logo. Now that's quite similar to the logo that Peugeot have now just adopted again, isn't it? Very nice. Unfortunately, I can't say much more about this car because I don't know, but as I always say when I film cars like this, I hope that they see the road again, and this one will, so that's what I want to see. Right, and I will now show you the reason why this car is here. So if we head out of here and round the corner, there is this car under a cover. Now, I've left a little bit showing. This is a Peugeot 504 Convertible. However, unfortunately, it caught fire. So it caught fire here on the drive and unfortunately has suffered quite a severe amount of damage. So we'll have a look underneath here. Unfortunately, the battery had a gas build-up in it and it ignited and sprayed across the engine bay, and the brake fluid caught fire, and then it sent the flames through the car, through the air vents of the car and into the cabin, where it then burnt out the dashboard and essentially, I'm not going to say wrote the car off, but it's caused a lot of damage. Now, he's managed to, because this is what happens when you have cars like this, find someone who broke a few of these up in the 80s and has kept all of the parts. So he's got the dashboard for it. Obviously the seats need to be retrimmed because they have got parts of the car burnt into them now. So that's a real shame. But the other 504 was going to be the template for this, but as I said, it's now not. It's going to get saved, but at least they know what kind of things that they need to do to get it back together. But that is such a shame because that is a beautiful car. But it will be getting saved, and he said he will never sell it and he loves it, and I imagine it will only make him love it more once he's seen the job done. But yeah, that's a real shame to look at. Right, well, let's go and look at something a bit happier. We'll go back around the corner, up around from the DS, and we'll take a look at some of the other cars up there. And next we have this beautiful 1968 Renault Caravel. Now, he tells me that the French didn't make the most beautiful cars. I know, but I'm coming on to my point. They got the Italians to do it. So the Italians designed this Renault Caravel, and I think you can agree with me that this is a very, very beautiful car. The lines on it remind me a bit of the Volvo P1800. Also looks a little bit Mustang-ish, but I think this still looks a bit Volvo-ish on the back. But regardless of what it looks like, what it actually is still a stunning car. This is the only car in the collection that hasn't been kept its original colour. So this originally was green. He's obviously painted it blue, and we can have a look inside and stuff. This car is very, very comfortable. Got lovely cushiony seats, typical French, I suppose. And oh, do you know, I've just spotted down here, look, it has a Motorola stereo. I didn't know Motorola were going back then, but I really love this car. The outside of it, the inside of it, it's all round lovely, and I'm very, very happy that this has survived and is in such good care. And I love here, look how small the gear stick is, although there's this one. I don't know what that one is. If you know what that is, please leave a comment. I'm sure he could tell me, but I'm going to give you a challenge there. Tell me what that is. This car was bought new by a commander in Cyprus back when we still had an army presence over there, and when he left he took it back over to England, parked it in the garage and left it there, and it fell into a really bad state of disrepair, and this man has bought it back from the brink. What a lovely thing to do to an old car. That is gorgeous. If I was a Renault man and not a Citroën man, I would absolutely be after one of those. So let's take a look at some of the other cars here. You might notice there's this MG, we'll come on to that. That's a DS, that's mine. Again, if you are new to the channel, there'll be other videos on that, we're not going to look at that. But for now, let's take a look at the E-Type. Isn't this beautiful? Again, another nut and bolt job. It's got this lovely fishtail exhaust on it. The rear of this car is incredible. I don't know what the best colour for an E-Type is. Normally you'd think it's British racing green, but these two black cars, the E-Type and the DS, look stunning in black. The interior he's had retrimmed as well, obviously. Look in there. What a absolutely stunning car. We're gonna sit in here. Again, very comfy. Which you wouldn't really expect for a car like this. This wasn't a car that was meant for comfort, but... And of course, it wouldn't be right if I didn't show you the engine. So this 5.3 litre V12 pushing out 300 brake. It's had a little bit of modification done to it, which has bumped it up from the standard. And what a thing of beauty it is. I love these when you get the 12 cylinders and you just get an, well, it's not an octopus, is it? But whatever the octopus with 12 legs is called. Really, really lovely. Clean engine, smells beautiful. He says you can pull away in 4th gear in this. I've got a lot of torque. And what a machine that is. Bare metal restoration, not a penny spared. And every penny, I would say, very well spent. What, this? Right, well, I've been given the green light. Let's start up the V12. Oh God, that's the seats far back though. I might not be able to reach the clutch. Oh. This car sounds incredible, smells incredible as well. What a thing to drive. Again, not every day, but what a thing to drive. Now, next you'll have to excuse me as we descend into madness because we have a beautiful Mazda 121. Now, as you might know, I love a shitbox. They are fantastic, but this one is far too nice to be a shitbox. Look, completely original, has proper Mazda 121 number plates in it. So this is a bubble Mazda 121 bubble shaped car. Locally registered, lived around here all its life, still on its original plates, which is a big thing that I love. Really, really clean. Has that cool roof, an electric roof. And look at the way the roof folds back on this 121. I can't think of the last time I saw one of these. It actually has a few different settings, so obviously that's the one that's all the way back. And then you've got, it looks a bit like a Caterpillar, doesn't it? So you have this second mode where you can have the back fold forward and it just concertina up. But then I believe it also does one where it all folds into the middle. Just so everyone can have a piece. What a brilliant car. It's a 1.3 I16 valve. It has got only 45,700 miles on it. So this car is really, really rare. There are only 5 of these left. He owns 3 of them. And I've actually asked him if the next time he gets rid of one, if he'll give me a call. Because I've accidentally gone and fallen in love with the bloody thing, haven't I? I really like it. He's had a gearbox rebuild done in one of them. A vast amount of money spent on this. Probably more than it's worth. He said they were very expensive when they were new and people didn't want to buy them because they'd all fallen in love with the MX-5s. But I think these are lovely and I do want one, and then that will make me a Jap car owner so people can stop going, buy a Jap car. I'll have a Mazda 121. Funnily enough, I know when they say buy a Jap car, they mean buy a Subaru. And when this pulled down the drive earlier, I thought this was a Subaru. Tell me that does not look like the front end of an Impreza. What a sight that is. How funny. Okay, now we'll move on to the final car. Last but by no means least is this stunning 1914 Model T Ford. Now, this car is just something else. We went out for a little ride in this, and absolutely everyone waves at you. I've never seen anything like it. This is incredible. Obviously, being 112 years old, wood wheels. Now, something that I love about this is this part just here is its original paint. That is exactly how it looked when it was new. This car was restored in the 70s and it's still in fantastic condition now. He's owned this since 2017 and bought it from a friend who'd owned it since the 70s, so I guess that was the guy who restored it. But let's go and press the horn. This is great. I love this. Now, this was a car that was invented before lights were needed. So these are some magnetic lights that you put on the back here, because otherwise you get mistaken for other things. Nice number plate. But he said that when he first drove this, he had 11 L plates on the car because it's so complicated to drive. So I'll give you a bit of a rundown into how a Ford Model T works off the top of my head and the best that I understand it. So, as I understand it, no, I've forgotten. I'm going to have to check my notes. Okay, so the middle pedal is reverse, the right pedal is the brake, and the left pedal is the clutch, but the clutch operates upside down. So you have two gears. They're not actually gears, they are rubber belts that are covered in oil, and they give you sort of the gears. And then I believe you change the ratios or something with a lever down here. I cannot properly explain how this car works, but I asked him, you know, when you first would drive one of these, how would you cope? And he said, well, you'd be fine because that would be all you knew. And I suppose he's right, isn't he? But him driving it for the first time, definitely a bit of a terrifying time for him. Down here is the speedo. Well, what I'll do is I'll just reverse this footage. So this cog here drives the speedo because it doesn't have front brakes. I'll go around the back and I'll show you the rears. Now, the rear brakes are these contracting bands, which work quite well going forwards, but don't work going backwards. The car just sort of will roll away. So you have to put chocks behind the back wheels to stop it rolling down hills if you park on one. I love this. It's like looking at a plane engine start. What a lovely thing. Beautiful grass caps, grass everywhere. Another thing that I love about this Ford is that you can see absolutely everything of the underside. Nothing's covered up. You've got access to it all, which makes it all a lot easier to do work on, which it will have needed a lot of work doing because it's 114 years old. Shadow the cat's been following me around while I've been doing this. He's actually quite a good companion. Right, let's go and have a look at the last car here. I think I said that the Model T was the last car, but I lied. Hello. You've been the mascot. So, this is a MGB V8. Sorry, an MGB GT V8. And as we all know, in England, these cars are very, very popular. Not necessarily so much the V8s, but this car makes an absolutely gorgeous sound. Okay, let's start up the MG. Give it a couple of pumps of fuel. Oh, what a sound. I think that's probably the best sounding car here. Ah. That sounds incredible. So this car has got such a vast amount of power. It can do an M3 at lights. You can put it in second gear, pull straight away, and you don't need to change again until you hit 60. And obviously this car doesn't weigh much at all. It's what a beast. Fortunately, from when this car's been at shows, he's left some useful information, so we can just read that rather than me pretend that I knew it all already. Anti-roll bars, stiffer race springs, vented discs, rebuilt and continuously improved ever since. I like that. The cat's come to join. I was warned that he climbs in cars, so I'm kind of hoping he climbs in mine. Very charming, that cat. Well, that's it. I've shown you everything here. I hope that you've liked this video. I have really enjoyed looking around this collection. Hope that you found something that you loved. Make sure that you put a comment below. Have a chat about cars, your experiences with any of these. I'd love to hear all your stories. Please make sure that you like and subscribe for more. And I will see you again next time on Road to Rust. I'm actually now off for a drive in the Caravel. I get to drive.